Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Hi everyone. Before you watch the next few Babble for Fives, we wanted to give you a quick update as to what you might be seeing on screen.
Yes. One of the main features of Season 3 for us has been learning how to use a new camera and all the settings that it has entailed, and that has led to a little bit of a learning curve for us, and there's a couple of things that have been a little not quite up to par in terms of quality in some of the episodes that you're going to watch in Season 3, unfortunately. We have since learned, we have gotten better, but you might see a little bit of graininess, a little bit of out of focus. You might see that we might not be playing as much with our cuts and whatnot. It might not be as fancy, but I promise you we'll get back to form, and we apologize for the error, and we hope you'll hang with us. Hello, I'm Charlene Schmidt.
I'm Patrick Schmidt.
We just got done watching A Day in the Strife, episode 3 of season 3 of Babylon 5, and it's time to babble for 5.
The almost very special episode of Babylon 5.
Garibaldi got this close, but he trusted Franklin and in return got lies. This is how we know that Franklin does have a problem and he's becoming an addict. Classic.
And this is also how we know that Babylon 5 is not your typical 90s TV show. And I was very, very happy to see that. I saw it going down the very special episode path.
Yes.
I was like, please, no, please don't let this happen.
No touching moments over a plate of spaghetti.
Exactly. Let's not have that. So I'm in. I want to see where this goes.
Nice. It's always what I want to hear. We've known that Franklin has taken stims, but now this is our first real legit example that this is becoming a grade A problem.
Is it any surprise? Is it any surprise that it's the person who, one, martyrs everywhere, and he's the king martyr, but two, that puts himself in that position more often than most?
But everybody on this station works their butt off. Franklin has the martyr syndrome. Now Sheridan, he's got some cojones in this one. The way he calls out that guy in the very opening scene with his BS, it's clever, you know? That's what makes a good leader.
And as they said in this episode, he's the one we need right now.
Indeed.
I think he proved it several times over.
And I love every bit of it. Yeah.
And that probe, I still haven't figured out everything about what that probe was trying to accomplish, but whatever it was clever. One, it was clever.
Yep.
And two, the solution was more clever than the problem, which I think was the whole point.
Yeah. And again, Sheridan on point here, outsmarting this fairly intelligent probe.
And how is Sheridan doing this without stims?
It just shows you don't need drugs to be successful, Franklin.
So speaking of the probe, and speaking of Sheridan being on point, I give him credit for being on point and finding a solution.
Yeah.
The problem was he came up with a solution 2 minutes prior to the thing doing its thing.
I mean, it's still TV. You've got to build that suspense. Give Ivanova the ulcer.
And let's be clear, Ivanova's going to have an ulcer regardless.
It's true. I mean, if it's not this crisis, it's something else on Babylon 5, so you're right. Yeah. Speaking of vicious cycles, how about the Narn?
Boy, the Narn just can't catch a break, can they?
Never. Never. I mean, we've got kind of opposing sides now, even within the Narn, creating a little bit of infighting. But Char knows that doesn't work.
Yet he seemed very resigned for much of this episode to end it all. You know, as he kind of does. Well, he packs up his bags and says, peace out.
Well, thinking that might be the best thing for the people that he's been leading and their families on Babylon 5. When ultimately, hey, as a matter of fact, Char has taught them some things. Some very good quotes, by the way. One of my very favorites comes from Talon, where he tells Char, I carry my sword in my hand, you carry it in your heart.
Oh, yes.
That is Char.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes even the leader needs to be reminded of why they lead.
Which is what happened here.
Yeah.
So I think the big lesson, the big takeaway that we can get from Char and the Narn in this episode is that it is better to die fighting for your freedom than to live in any sort of amount of comfort, however limited it might be, in slavery.
And there's a difference between surviving and living.
Yes, and Char knows that.
Yes.
So this is far from over.
Of course. It always is on this show.
Now on the other side of things, the Centauri. Londo sends Veer off to Minbar. What do you make of this?
I have a confession, I guess, which
Okay.
is in previous episodes and previous conversations that we've had, you've tried to defend Londo and say he and Veer have a really good relationship and maybe they're friends after all.
Yes,
and
I
I've
have.
come in and said, that's a bunch of
BS.
bunk. This is the episode, I think, where maybe I realized it, that maybe there is actually a mentor-mentee kind of thing happening there where Londo realizes, if I keep Veer around me, Veer's going to learn how to be me, and I don't want that.
Veer has been the witness to all this all along, and I think he is seeing what it's done to Veer. And yes, I absolutely agree that Londo is looking out for Veer's best interests here. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And for the first time, I agree. I do have one other thing that I noticed in this episode, and I don't know if you picked up on it.
What's that?
But Ivanova, as Howie Mandel, send or no send?
Deal or no deal?
Send or no send? Earth Dome.
Yeah.
What can you do for us? We can give you answers to 375 questions. Send or no send?
God.
No send.
Thank you everybody for watching, and as always, you know, we love your comments. We love this little community that we've built. We see the numbers go up, and as the weeks have gone by, we keep getting more and more comments, and we cannot be more grateful. We're really enjoying it, so please, just don't spoil anything that happens after this. You know the drill, but if I don't say it, somebody will do it. That's the rule.
And if you know someone who is like me, who's never watched this series before, maybe hook them up with a couple Babble for Fives, see if it kind of whets their interest, and maybe they can join the conversation too.
Yes, we would love to hear from more first-timers. So if you're out there, come hit us up.
Yeah.